Well, that was disappointing. Hey everyone, it's Sharana from Pay Your Weights, and today I'm going to be reviewing Bill and Ted Face the Music, which is directed by Dennis Parasite and it stars Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, as they reprise their roles, Bill and Ted. This is the third film, almost 30 years from its previous sequel, which hit in 1991. And so this time around, Bill and Ted, they witnessed and experienced success with the Wild Stallions. However, they're not rocking out anymore, okay? They are not a popular band anymore. They have found themselves unemployed, having marital issues, and they still have to figure out what song it is that is going to unite the universe and save the entire world. But this time they're on a little bit of the time crunch because the end of the world is near, so they must embark on a time traveling journey in order to save the universe once and for all. So when they announced that there was going to be a third film in this franchise now of Bill and Ted, I was excited. I was a huge fan of the first Bill and Ted films, even though I feel like people were kind of hating on the second Bill and Ted, but I still really liked it. So I was really excited. We had Alex and Keanu, they both signed back on. I was just like, I am totally here for this. But I have to say, I was really disappointed with the end result of what we see with Bill and Ted Face the Music. So for those of you who are new to my channel, hello, welcome. I tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like about the film. And should you spend your coins or not paying to see this in theaters or paying to watch it on VOD? That is what I'm here for. I'm the protector of coins. So going into what I did enjoy about Bill and Ted Face the Music. So first and foremost, this time around, Bill and Ted, they're middle-aged dads, and they have two daughters, Thea and Billy, who are played by Samara Weaving, and also to Bridget Lundy Payne. And I thought that they were fantastic. They are actually one of the parts that made the movie enjoyable to watch for me. I will have to say that Bridget, I was so weirded out about how her mannerisms are so much like Ted that I was really creeped out. She did such a fantastic job of getting these mannerisms down packed, and they are like the exact replicas of their fathers, Bill and Ted. And so I thought that the movie works best when we actually focus on the daughters and what their journey is. I think that is when we actually get to see, it's kind of reminiscent of what the previous Bill and Teds were about, embarking on this journey, trying to bring people together. And I thought that when we focus on them, that's when we get to the core of what Bill and Ted films are about. And so I also have to say that William Sadler, who is reprising his role as Death, I thought was freaking hilarious, gave me my laugh, even though he's not in the film as much, not a huge chunk of the film, but when he's there, he is fantastic. But I have to talk about a character by the name of Dennis, who is played by Anthony Carrigan. Dennis was the main person who gave me the majority of the few laughs that I did have in the film. A great addition to the cast. I thought that he was absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to spoil anything or give away who his character is, how his character relates to the rest of the main cast, but I think you would definitely be in for a treat. And one of the things that I will say is I did appreciate the visuals for this film even more. And I guess because, the first one was in what? Was it 1988 or 1989, and then the second was in 1991. I love that because we are doing this in 2020 where we have better technology. I thought that it looked pretty cool what they did with the future, what they did even with the telephone box as they transport themselves back and forth through time. I thought it was pretty cool to watch. But even though I had things I enjoyed about it, I have a lot of issues with Bill and Ted Face the Music. And I think where I get my main issue is with the writing of this film. So Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, who both worked on, the second film. I thought that if we had almost 30 years go by since the previous sequel, that, there was a lot of time and thought put into what will this third film be about. But while watching the film, and because the plot was so convoluted, it's just so much happening with little purpose to what all of these characters are doing, that it just made me feel as though, like, did you guys rush this script together? Had you not really put any thought into what Bill and Ted would be up to at this point, almost 30 years since the previous film? And so because of that, I felt as though that Keanu and Alex, even though they do a great job of reprising their roles with their mannerisms, with how they sound, I still felt as though that they were the weakest part of their own movie. And there's no way that you have your main characters who are the weakest part. In the film, they kind of go on this journey to try to save the world, but then they are tasked with they have a different task to really hit because they realize what the future brings for their characters. And I would say, like, maybe for the second time that they do this, it is a funny moment, but I think that they're the weakest part of the film because the script didn't know what to do with its lead characters. And then also too, for the daughters, even though they were the most, I gravitated the most to their stories, you could tell that their characters were written to be men. Before they were supposed to have 2 sons, but they ended up changing it to 2 daughters, which I think it still works. But I felt as though they didn't do anything to really fit with the fact that they actually have daughters instead of sons this time around. And it is almost to the point where I felt as though there was too much of the same mannerisms and dialogue of Bill and Ted because they mirrored the daughters to be exactly the same. And I felt that there should have been some type of contrast to really balance it out. Either Bill and Ted had to become serious because they're middle-aged dads, or either their offspring, their daughters, should have been serious. I thought it was a little bit too much having both of them kind of speak in this like slang that worked back in the late 80s, early 90s that really doesn't necessarily work now. And so that's why I felt as though from a writing standpoint, it's a weak point. And also too with the inclusion of the wives that they have, played by Jayma Mays and Erin Hayes. They are so underutilized that you really didn't need to have the inclusion of Bill and Ted's wives in the film because they don't know what to do with their characters as well. And I think overall for me, because of the writing, it was just a letdown. I just felt like this was another cash grab. They didn't know what they really wanted to do with the stories. They didn't know what they really wanted to do with the characters, which sucks because Keanu and Alex are not bad in the film. They're just not giving anything grand to do. I think for those of you who are nostalgic about the previous 2 films, hey, I was in the minority. When I talked to a lot of my friends, they were like, well, did you like the first 2? I was like, yes, but I just really didn't care for this 3rd film. So I can say that most of you might disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm just giving my opinion. You have to make your own. But for me and my coins, what I would tell you guys to do, it's a wait for me. It's just a wait, and it pains my soul because I am a Bill and Ted fan, and I want to be excellent to this movie as they have been excellent to me with the previous 2. But this is the weakest film out of all 3. But yeah, I mean, I will tell you guys, if you haven't watched the first 2 films in a long time, I would definitely recommend to you that you do need to go back and watch the first 2 films. There's going to be a lot of small little Easter eggs and stuff that you might miss or you might not remember. But I do recommend, if you are going to watch this, that you should definitely watch the first 2 films as well. But those are my thoughts on Bill and Ted Face the Music. As always, my name is Sharana from Pay Your Weight, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000, and until I see you again,